Since I am mainly looking at video games that may be suitable for people who have never really played video games before, I thought it might be time to look back at the discoveries and moments and more associated with specific games I've played in my life. This is a series I'm calling Gaming Memories. For the longest time, I'd never figured that I would play horror games. That is, until I discovered the Resident Evil series, and I figured this fine spooky month of October, well, that was the original idea, I'd revisit how I discovered this survival horror series and played a number of the games featured within. The first time that I ever heard of a Resident Evil series, from what I remember, was reading a gaming magazine that primarily covered Nintendo 64 games, where Resident Evil 2 was mentioned. I think a letter from someone mentioned the game, not sure in what context, or it just got a good score in that list of Nintendo 64 games that were reviewed. I didn't play any of the Resident Evil games at that time, I was surely too young to play them. But my curiosity in the series grew considerably when it was revealed that the remake of the first Resident Evil was in development for a Nintendo system that was coming out soon, the GameCube. I did not know it was a remake. Probably didn't even know the concept of remakes existed back then, and didn't think more about why it was simply called Resident Evil, rather than something that came after 2. I remember seeing the pictures of this remake for the first time and being amazed at how good they looked, especially during the transition from the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube. Now, the GameCube was a system I was really excited for and really wanted. Believe me, you almost have no idea. I enjoyed going to shops to play games like Luigi's Mansion, Wave Race Blue Storm, and especially Star Wars Rogue Leader. But it seemed like I wasn't going to get that new cube-shaped system anytime soon. But there was a glimmer of hope. I had, shall we say, quite the operation in hospital in October 2002. So I was given a copy of Hyper Magazine, which featured a competition. All you had to do was apply for a 12-month subscription to the magazine, and how could I refuse a magazine that had in-depth coverage of games such as Super Mario Sunshine and the Resident Evil remake? The prize was a GameCube with a copy of a Resident Evil remake. Perhaps that was it. I could finally get a GameCube. Maybe Resident Evil might have been too scary for me, but who cares? It was a GameCube that I didn't win. The possibility for the remake of the first Resident Evil to be my entry point into the series faded away. Still, after my operation, my parents got me a GameCube bundle with Super Mario Sunshine. I also got Super Smash Bros. Melee not long afterwards. So I was happy spending hours playing on the GameCube, but I still didn't get Resident Evil. I mostly don't know why. Maybe I wasn't sure if horror games like that would be my thing. And that includes other games that got mentioned by my friends and acquaintances, such as the Silent Hill games. I probably tried to win Resident Evil 0 in a competition, but there was a Resident Evil game that somehow I just couldn't ignore. It was a game that underwent several revisions, with its final look, ideas and gameplay mechanics drawing a lot of hype and praise from game journalists and gamers alike. It was
Resident Evil 4.
Back when this game was a GameCube exclusive, how long did that last? I just wanted to give this game a try. It just seemed like the sort of game I might like, after all this time. Again, I hadn't played a Resident Evil game before, so I almost wasn't prepared for the tank controls, or the horrors that weren't zombies. Yeah, I knew those enemies were already absent, or just how awesome the game was. I liked how challenging and fast-paced the game was, the exploration, the different weapons and stuff. I actually reviewed this game not long after starting this YouTube channel, by the way. I spent many hours playing this game on the GameCube. Then one of my friends introduced me to the Resident Evil remake. Finally, I got to play it out all these years. It wasn't what I was expecting. The tank controls were largely the same, but what's this? These changing static camera angles? Limited ammo? A somewhat different scare factor? Still, the limited time I got to spend on it with my friend to begin with was interesting, and I got a good sense of what the series was like before 4 came out. I didn't really play any other Resident Evil games, with a possible exception of a Resident Evil 5 demo at a convention or something. Was it PAX? But eventually, a friend from before who let me try the Resident Evil remake gave me both the Resident Evil remake and Resident Evil 0. Devoting more time than before to try and complete the Resident Evil remake was a memorable experience. You can get a better sense of what it was like to play it from my review in 2018, but I really got into the exploration, tension, limited ammo and saves, puzzles, and replay value. This is what got me interested in the series overall. I could get into either the somewhat old-fashioned survival horror earlier on in the series, or the direction the series seemed to take from Resident Evil 4 onwards. I am happy to have discovered the series and even played the original Resident Evil on PlayStation, and Resident Evil 2 and its 2019 remake. I've played bits of the other games as well, including Zero, and I look forward to discovering or rediscovering more Resident Evil games. Today, who would have thought that I would play the survival horror series after hearing the name of the Nintendo 64 release of Resident Evil 2 in a magazine? The more I evaluate the Resident Evil series, the more I realise that it's not exactly scary all the time, and that it is more about challenging yourself to stay alive and with whatever ammo or ink ribbons you have left. But no matter how much it may scare me or make me jump, I can largely thank the Resident Evil series for getting me into horror games, and close to a time I started to take a bit more of an interest in horror films as a film buff. Other horror games, most notably the Silent Hill ones, provided me with different experiences, but the first time playing Resident Evil 4 will always have a special place in my heart. It is probably one of my all-time favourite games, so much that I eventually got the Wii version as well. And it's not just Resident Evil 4 that I like. I have genuinely enjoyed my time with the other Resident Evil games I've played. Nothing wrong with being at least a little scared while making some more gaming memories.